Let's talk a little bit about how to reduce stress. Any advice or suggestions, anything that you've seen people doing that are using Whoop as far as stress reduction techniques?
I think breathing is really the most underrated piece of overall health. People don't really talk about breathing.
That's simple, huh?
But there's so many different ways to breathe.
Yeah.
Most people, their breaths are too shallow. They need too many breaths in a minute to function. They don't actually breathe properly when they're using technology. I mean, how many times have you seen someone hunched over on a phone?
Yeah.
And it's like it's almost like they haven't breathed in the last 10 minutes. So that's, at least for me personally in dealing with stress, I've just become very conscious of breathing. I've been a long time meditator. So that's something that I feel very close to. I think another way to deal with stress is to learn how to intentionally take it on.
Okay.
So that could be super high intensity exercise. That could be contrast therapy, hot, cold. Almost every day I'm putting myself in excruciatingly cold water. I'll try to do a sauna or a steam almost every day. So those are things that put yourself in a position to take on stress, and I think in turn make unpredictable stress therefore feel less stressful.
Yeah.
And I also think it's worth reminding yourself that stress isn't a bad thing. I think stress is an important thing to accomplish goals and to meet objectives that have never been done before. So at this point, I've kind of grown to welcome stress, and I'll even look at it as a challenge of, well, can I overcome this moment?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's, I think we try to eliminate stress, but I think sometimes it's more effective to figure out how to use that stress to do what we need to do. And the last...
And by the way, just on that point, I think that's probably the biggest... I think that's the biggest misconception. And I think it's also something that older generations are saying to young generations, people between the ages of 10 and 25, and saying, if you're feeling stressed, take on less stress, rather than teaching people how to cope with stress.
Yeah.
And it's really important that we teach young people how to cope with stress, because life doesn't get that much easier over time. You only get more responsibility, and you need to be able to cope with stress.
Yeah, well said.